I don't quite know how long I'm going to be stuck out here, but one thing I do know is that I will make it home. So, I was originally going to make a sort of DayZ survival series thingamabob with quite raw editing, but I thought you guys might be bored to death of watching me run around and loot on Shroud. So instead, I'm going to offer up my thoughts and opinions on the 1.0 release of DayZ Standalone. Back in May of 2018, I released a video called Why DayZ 0.63 will revive the game, 5 reasons for DayZ's comeback. It did overwhelmingly well, garnering surprising amounts of support and generated appearances from other YouTubers like Sysin, Septic Falcon and even Rusky. As someone who has lost faith in DayZ over and over, becoming tired of the constant cycles of loving and hating what it had become, I was genuinely at a happy place with the 0.63 update. For the first time after a long stint of not playing the game, DayZ was starting to gather momentum again. 0.63 was a glimpse of what the future of the Infusion engine had in store. But then, like a John Cena meme, the announcement of a 1.0 December release stunned us all. The game was flourishing with a new engine. The new Steam Workshop integration had spurred on an already rapidly growing microcosm of modders, creating add-ons for DayZ. We've got a snow version of Chronorus Plus, a Stalker themed mod, plus many more. However, fundamentally, the game is, and still is, in early access and beta at the most. Armour 3 had tons of bugs in beta. Granted, they didn't create a whole new engine and rewrite lots of fundamental code, so let's exclude that. But the actual time between the 0.60 and 1.0 patches was adequate enough for them to refine what they needed so it could be released into the wild. Giving your game the 1.0 label means it will be subjected to all kinds of criticism. As another example from Armour 3, they still received backlash from nitpicky reviewers that the game hadn't yet featured a fleshed out single player campaign. Armour isn't known for its single player, of course, but the fact it was 1.0 meant that reviewers were given the right to criticize what they saw unfit and compare to other fully released titles. I was going to defer my DayZ 1.0 discussion, mainly because I had a lot of uni work on, but also because I genuinely didn't believe it would actually happen. I thought this was a miscalculation and overestimation. They would come back in January with a revised 0.64 update. Instead, it rolled full steam ahead, and streamers like Shroud, Sacriel and more tried out the update for the first time. Game journalists got their scribble pads out, and DayZ stumbled into the spotlight of the Steam Store's main page. Yes, the game has probably received a huge amount of sales and influx of players, but it just didn't feel right. The launch began with a few UI glitches, fueling the already roaring laughter of many Twitch viewers. A laggy browser which seems to DDoS your internet while it loads all the zillions of servers, and then the infamous FPS bug, which was, to the credit of the devs, patched fairly swiftly. It was every DayZ fan's worst nightmare. The big chance of reviving the game with a more polished showcase of what these 5 years had culminated in had fallen flat on its face because of a rushed release. It is incredibly disheartening. Now, don't get it twisted, I am a huge DayZ fan. I loved the mod, Frankie's survival series back in the day, and all the things that came after it, and hell, I even defended its years of early access with this 0.63 video I made. In short, I am a Bohemia fan through and through. However, I cannot escape the feeling that this 1.0 release came from a corporate fat cat or some higher up who said either release this year or we pull the plug. It's difficult to judge how another year of early access would go down for DayZ. On one hand, it would give the devs more time to bring in the weapons that were missing in 0.63, get the persistence problems ironed out, and add in sought after features like climbing, helicopter transport, and throwing. Among streamers, there was also a free weekend for the game before its release. Many reviewers mentioned how this was also unhelpful in DayZ's case, even if it wasn't the intention, because it came across as a final ditch attempt to draw sales in. The main point reviewers mentioned was how the servers were buckling under the increased pressure, which further degraded people's opinions when they came to play something filled up with desync and network lag. And it is this which is most damaging to DayZ. Reviving people's opinions of the game was always going to be a slippery slope, but the actual fully fledged release of 1.0 has meant that DayZ has been heated up under the limelight more than ever before. One review calls DayZ Standalone an empty, lifeless husk that still doesn't feel finished. Another stating it is still broken, still beautiful, and still unfinished. I think deep down, I am a true DayZ fan. I desperately want it to do well. It has some of the best bits of the survival genre that not many other games in its class come even close to, so it's really saddening to see reviewers, who are completely within their rights to do so of course, posting up buggy screenshots on their articles, all throwing fuel on the fire that DayZ is broken, always has been, always will be. The 1.0 release has given light to parody videos like this one. And it's all just more and more backlash and hate and bitterness towards the game's reputation as the laughingstock of the PC gaming market. The fact that even their own livestream had a fully fledged example of the hit reg issues is proof enough that the game simply isn't ready. It's getting there, but it's not ready. So, this all sounds quite sad and despairing. You're probably thinking, oh Tommy, what's the use? There's no hope anymore. Calm yourself. There are some possible solutions. However, I doubt they'll ever see the light of day. Number 1. Retract DayZ's 1.0 tag. Call it a misunderstanding, a marketing blunder, I don't care. Retract it and call this version 0.64. Kindly ask reviewers to stand by for the real final release. It will look stupid and clumsy and really unprofessional, but if done right and with courtesy, DayZ should be able to slip back into its beta tag. Number 2. Work on the underlying features that people actually want to see, like the base building persistence I mentioned earlier, as well as the hit reg. Give Sumrak more free time so he can finish off Namalsk. Build up a list of features, content, items, vehicles, whatever, so you have a huge array of new goodies for players when the game has its 1.0 tag. Number 3. Keep building this content list up, vehicles, weapons, maps and more, while creating hype for the game. Invest some of the money made from the Steam store spotlight into a solid marketing campaign. Tease Namalsk, tease new base building bits, tease working radiation at Tizzy, make people really keen to come back. Become masters of building up marketing excitement within the community and pray you repair the burning bridges. Number 4. Read this comment on the DayZ subreddit 1.0 mega thread by Stubby and reconfigure your approach to DayZ. The adding of hardcore features that grind the player down and make the game tedious as opposed to fun isn't what made us enjoy the mod. It's the goddamn player interaction. On the thread, Stubby writes this: the developers completely missed the mark on why this game was popular. The mod was popular because of the tactical shooting elements with consequences. It is the same reason that PUBG blew up. The funny random interactions also helped it play good for YouTube and streams. Disease wasn't a good feature because it is fun to try to cure disease. It was a good feature because it made people go into areas that have other people in them to make them find medicine. Zombies weren't a fun feature because people liked killing brainless enemies that are no real threat. Zombies were fun because they forced you to react and make noise or movement that attracted players to your position, which caused the fun PvP interactions. Vehicles aren't fun because people want to simulate being a car mechanic. They are fun because they let you get into and out of dangerous high-value locations. They make noise and alert other players. They are useful and cause people to want to fight you. The whole point is the player interaction and the consequences of that interaction. When you look at the feature list and what they have prioritized, it is all pointless stuff that has nothing to do with why the game was fun. Horticulture and animal herds and the central loot economy all have the opposite effect. Instead of forcing players to interact, they allow players to avoid dangerous interactions. This game will never be good again because the people developing it don't know why DayZ mod was the most fun multiplayer game ever made. Strong words. Number 5. Make a public apology of humbleness and be completely honest with the player base from now on. People don't like being lied to or deceived or cheated. While Dean had his quirky bits, one thing he always echoed was transparency within the community. And for that, they always appreciated him. We're not idiots or mindless consumers. We're people with opinions, foresight, logic, and reason. We have a right to be skeptical because of how much time we've all invested in this development journey. And so I leave it to you, the DayZ devs, to take on board this criticism, not as mere flaming, but as a voice from the community, telling you how it is and giving solutions to a problem. After all, if we can't tell each other hard truths, DayZ will be doomed to resentment by its own community. Thank you for watching, and at the time of making this video, I wish you a very happy Christmas and a huge thanks for helping me to reach 5,000 subs. Tommy out.